Ethan's boots crunched against the thin ice as he walked across the frozen valley of Thaloria. The landscape was otherworldly. Mountains of silver-blue rock rose sharply into the sky, their peaks glowing faintly with an eerie light. Snow swirled around him in unpredictable gusts, and he could see strange frost-colored plants bending under the wind. Even after weeks on this planet, Ethan could not stop marveling at its beauty and danger at the same time. He adjusted his thermal suit and checked the readings on his portable scanner. Everything seemed normal, or as normal as it could be on a planet whose weather could freeze a human in minutes. His mission was simple in theory: collect samples of local flora and fauna and report any discoveries back to the research station. In practice, the planet was full of surprises, and surprises could be deadly. As he descended into a narrow canyon, something caught his eye. A flicker of motion, too deliberate to be an animal. He froze, scanning the area carefully. At first he saw nothing. Then beneath the shadow of a large rock formation he spotted a figure. A woman, crouched, clearly injured. She was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered faintly, a soft silver-blue hue that reflected the dim light. Her hair was long, white, and flowed around her shoulders, almost like liquid moonlight. Her eyes, a vivid violet, locked onto Ethan instantly. There was a sharp intelligence in them, mixed with pain and fear. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. He had trained for encounters with alien species, but this was no routine observation. She looked vulnerable, and she was not attacking. "Wait," he called, raising a hand. "I'm not going to hurt you." The woman flinched, but she did not move away. Her gaze remained fixed on him as if weighing his words. Ethan noticed deep gashes across her arms and legs, bruises darkening the pale skin. Clearly, she had survived an attack or an accident. "Help me," she said, her voice melodic but weak. Each word was deliberate, carefully measured. Her accent was strange, almost musical, yet understandable. Ethan approached slowly. "I can help. I'm a doctor, or, well, a geneticist trained in emergency care." Her eyes narrowed as though she were studying him. After a long moment, she nodded slightly. "You are human. You may survive the journey." Ethan paused. Her words were odd, but their meaning was clear. She needed him, and perhaps she was deciding if he could be trusted. "Who are you?" he asked gently. "I am Kalara," she replied. "I was a chieftain's wife. I am the last of my people's bloodline strong enough to survive." Ethan's eyes widened. "Your people? You mean there are others like you?" Kalara shook her head, pain flashing across her face. "Many are weak, ill, extinct without strong offspring." Her voice broke briefly before she steadied herself. "You can help." Ensure survival, Ethan swallowed hard. He had read about alien species in his research, but nothing had prepared him for this. He had trained for extreme conditions, for diplomatic situations, for even hostile encounters, but nothing about being chosen to save an entire species. "We need to get you somewhere safe," he said finally. "Can you walk?" Kalara grimaced but stood with visible effort. Ethan helped support her. Her body was surprisingly strong despite her injuries, and she moved with a grace that seemed almost unnatural. As they began the trek across the icy valley, Ethan couldn't help but notice her eyes scanning constantly, alert to danger. "Why, me?" he asked, curiosity overcoming caution. "There are humans everywhere. Why choose me?" Kalara's gaze met his. "Humans have strong blood, courage, and strength. Not just physical. You adapt, survive." She paused, breathing heavily. "Your people can produce offspring, stronger than ours, more likely to live." Ethan's mind reeled. She wasn't just asking for help, she was choosing him. A sense of responsibility settled over him, heavy but not unwelcome. He had always been fascinated by genetics and survival, but he had never imagined it on this scale. The valley grew narrower, and the wind picked up. Small rocks tumbled from above, striking the ice around them. Ethan took the lead, scanning for unstable surfaces. Kalara followed closely, moving cautiously. "You must be careful," she said. "Rival, hunters, seek me. My enemies do not want bloodline." "Preserved," Ethan frowned. "Hunters? On this planet?" Kalara's eyes flashed with a dangerous light. "Yes, those who want power. They fear strength from another world." Ethan realized that helping her was more than just a rescue mission. If they were discovered, they could be attacked, and not just by wild animals. The stakes were higher than he had imagined. Hours passed. The sun of Thaloria was strange, casting long violet shadows across the ice. They rested briefly in a small cave where Ethan cleaned and bandaged her wounds. She winced but allowed it, and for the first time she spoke more freely. "Kalara, tell me about your people," Ethan said, curious to understand the civilization he had stumbled into. Kalara's eyes softened, reflecting memories. "Our cities, built in cliffs and crystal, shine like stars. Long ago we lived in harmony. Bloodlines, controlled. Each generation, to keep strength. But greed and mistakes caused weakness. Many sick, die before adulthood." Ethan listened, fascinated. The history was tragic yet proud. It reminded him of humanity's own struggles, though in a more extreme and alien way. "You want a mate from humans," he said slowly. "Because you need strong offspring?" Kalara nodded. "Yes, only someone with courage and resilience can help us survive." Her gaze softened. "I did not choose lightly." Ethan hesitated. He had faced danger and death before, but the idea of being chosen for such a monumental purpose was overwhelming. "And what if I refuse?" he asked cautiously. Her eyes darkened, though her tone remained calm. "Then my people may perish. I have no other choice." Ethan felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had been trained to solve problems, to adapt, to survive, but this was no ordinary challenge. This was about life itself, on a scale he had never imagined. Night fell quickly on Thaloria, and the temperature dropped. Ethan and Kalara huddled together under the small overhang of rock. The cold bit through their suits, but the cave offered some protection. Stars glittered overhead, pale and cold, yet mesmerizing. "You, humans, are different," Kalara said quietly, almost to herself. "You adapt, fight, survive, with mind and heart, not just strength." Ethan glanced at her. "That's a nice way to put it." She smiled faintly, a mixture of exhaustion and relief. "You may help us survive if you endure." Ethan realized that this was more than survival. It was trust, and Kalara was trusting him, a human stranger with the future of her people. The gravity of it humbled him, but it also ignited a spark of determination. By dawn, the wind had calmed and the ice reflected a soft violet light. Ethan helped Kalara stand. "We should move before anyone finds us," he said. Kalara nodded, her strength returning, her gaze steady. "Yes, forward. Danger waits. But we must reach the city." As they trudged onward, Ethan realized that the adventure ahead would not just test their physical endurance, but also their ability to understand and trust one another. He could feel a strange connection forming, one that went beyond words. In the harsh frozen landscape of Thaloria, a human and an alien widow were bound together by a common goal, survival and the hope for the future. For Ethan, every step forward was a step into the unknown, a world of strange beauty, peril, and a responsibility he had never imagined. Yet for the first time he felt truly alive, knowing that his actions could change the fate of an entire species. And Kalara, though silent now, watched him with a mix of caution and hope. In her eyes he saw the possibility of life renewed, of a lineage strong enough to withstand the trials of a galaxy filled with danger. Together, human and alien, they set out across the icy expanse, unaware of the rivals tracking them from the shadows, and unaware of the bond that would slowly grow between them, a bond that would shape the destiny of two worlds. The icy wind whipped across Thaloria's cliffs as Ethan and Kalara moved cautiously through the frozen valley. Every step was a challenge. The snow crunched beneath their boots, and loose rocks occasionally tumbled down the slopes above. Ethan adjusted the strap of his pack, feeling the weight of the medical supplies and tools he carried. He knew that helping Kalara reach her city was going to be more dangerous than anything he had faced before. Kalara led the way, her movements careful but deliberate. Despite her earlier injuries, she moved with an elegance and strength that surprised Ethan. Every now and then she paused, listening to the distant echoes of the valley. Ethan followed closely, trying to keep pace. "Do you always travel alone?" he asked cautiously, breaking the silence. Kalara's violet eyes met his. "I had companions once, but rivals destroyed them. Only I remained strong enough To survive. Her voice was steady, but Ethan could sense the weight behind her words. He nodded. I'm honored to help you, but we should move carefully. The terrain here is unpredictable. Kalara gave a slight nod. Yes, ice hides cracks. Cliffs may fall. Many die who are careless. The valley widened into a plateau, and Ethan noticed the strange flora scattered around. Plants with translucent leaves shimmered faintly in the violet light, and small insect-like creatures scuttled beneath the snow. He stopped for a moment to collect a sample, carefully placing it in a sealed container. Kalara watched him silently, her expression unreadable. Then after a pause she said, Your people adapt quickly. You will survive. In many environments, Ethan smiled. We do try, but your planet, it's challenging. Kalara's lips curved into a faint smile. Yes, challenge. Teaches strength. The quiet moment did not last. From the distant cliffs, Ethan noticed movement, a shadow among the rocks. His heart skipped. He gestured for Kalara to crouch. Hunters, she whispered, her eyes narrowing. Rivals, they seek me. They fear my bloodline. Ethan's mind raced. He had known the journey would be dangerous, but he hadn't expected pursuit so soon. We need a plan, he said, scanning the area. The shadows were moving faster now, and the figures, tall, armored, and unfamiliar, were clearly tracking them. Kalara nodded. Yes, you are clever. You may help us survive. Ethan's training kicked in. He looked for high ground, finding a small ridge with rocks that could serve as cover. We'll lead them here, he whispered. Then we can set a trap. Kalara raised an eyebrow but followed his lead. Your people think differently, clever, not just strong. Together they moved quietly, avoiding loose ice. Ethan set up small devices from his pack, primitive by alien standards but effective as alarms and signals. Kalara observed, clearly impressed by his ingenuity. When the hunters arrived, they found themselves caught in a maze of false trails and alarms. Rocks fell unexpectedly, forcing them to retreat temporarily. Kalara's eyes glimmered with admiration. You are clever. You will survive. Where others fail, Ethan shrugged, hiding his relief. Just human instincts, he said lightly, though he knew every moment had been tense and dangerous. They resumed their journey, moving steadily toward the distant mountains where Kalara's city was hidden. The terrain grew more treacherous. Snowdrifts were deeper, and ice sheets threatened to crack beneath their weight. Ethan had to constantly watch his footing, helping Kalara navigate as well. Along the way, they shared stories of their worlds. Kalara spoke of her people's cities, built into crystal cliffs and glowing with bioluminescent energy. She described their traditions, the importance of strong offspring, and the tragedies that had led to their dwindling numbers. Ethan shared stories of Earth, of human struggles and triumphs, and how people could adapt to almost any environment. Despite the dangers, a bond began to form between them. Ethan realized that Kalara was not just a survivor. She was wise, brave, and capable of incredible compassion. Kalara, in turn, seemed to trust him more with each passing hour, her cautious glances softened by appreciation. Late in the afternoon, they came to a deep ravine. A narrow ice bridge connected the two sides, swaying dangerously in the wind. Ethan went first, testing each step. Kalara followed carefully, her steps precise and controlled. Halfway across, the bridge trembled and a crack appeared beneath their feet. Careful, Ethan shouted, grabbing her arm to steady her. Kalara's eyes widened, but she trusted him. Together they made it across, hearts pounding. You saved me, she said, a faint smile on her lips. Few would risk themselves. Ethan laughed nervously. It's not about risk. It's about keeping you alive. And myself, I guess. Night fell quickly. The valley was bathed in pale violet light and temperatures dropped sharply. They found shelter in a small cave and built a fire using portable heating devices Ethan carried. Kalara watched quietly, sitting close but not touching him. You humans are strange, she said after a while. You find warmth, even in the coldest places. Ethan smiled. We have to. Adapt or die. You seem very strong yourself. I don't know how you survived before I found you. Kalara looked down, her expression somber. Luck, and skill, and purpose. I must survive. For my people, I cannot fail. Ethan nodded, understanding the weight of her responsibility. You won't fail. I'll help you. We'll get through this together. The night was long and bitterly cold. Ethan stayed alert, keeping an eye on the cave entrance for any signs of the rival hunters. Kalara rested more easily than he expected, her breathing steady. He realized that she was not only physically strong but disciplined in every way. Her survival instincts were remarkable. By dawn, the wind had calmed and the first light revealed the valley in stunning detail. Ice crystals sparkled like diamonds and alien plants glistened with frost. Ethan helped Kalara to her feet. We should keep moving. The city isn't far, but the journey is still dangerous. Kalara nodded. Yes, we must endure. Every step matters. As they climbed the slopes toward the city's hidden location, Ethan noticed a change in her demeanor. She was more relaxed yet vigilant. Trust was growing between them, and with it a sense of hope. Suddenly the ground trembled. From a distance, Ethan saw massive creatures moving toward them. Predators native to Thaloria, with icy scales and razor-sharp claws. Kylara's eyes widened slightly. They may hunt everything that moves. Quickly, Ethan acted fast. Using a combination of portable tools and quick thinking, he created a diversion, throwing heat-emitting devices to distract the predators. Kalara used the moment to guide them across a safer path. They moved with precision, hearts racing, until finally the predators lost interest and returned to the wilds. Breathing heavily, Kalara looked at him with a mixture of surprise and respect. Your thinking saved us. Few humans could act so quickly. Ethan chuckled softly. Guess it's all those years of problem-solving back on Earth. You never know when it'll come in handy. By midday, they reached a plateau overlooking the valley where Kalara's city was hidden. The city glimmered faintly, built into cliffs with crystalline structures glowing softly. Ethan felt a sense of awe. This was unlike any human city he had seen. Kalara's people had created a home that was both beautiful and strong, a testament to their ingenuity and survival instincts. Kalara turned to him. We are close, but the council must see. They judge worthiness. Carefully, Ethan swallowed. I understand. I'll do whatever it takes. As they descended toward the city, Ethan realized that this journey was changing him. He had come to Thaloria as a scientist, curious and cautious. Now he was part of something far larger, a chance to help a civilization survive, to prove human courage and ingenuity across the stars. Kalara glanced at him with a faint, approving smile. You endure more than most. Soon, you will see what must be done. Together, we may succeed. Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. The journey had tested their strength, their wits, and their courage. But he knew the hardest part was yet to come, facing the alien council and proving that he was worthy of helping Kalara ensure the survival of her people. As the city's crystalline spires came into full view, Ethan took a deep breath. The adventure was far from over, but with Kalara by his side, he felt ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. For now, the bond between human and alien had begun to grow, forged in the ice, tested by danger and strengthened by trust, and both of them knew that the journey to survival was only beginning. The city of Kalara's people rose majestically from the cliffs, a breathtaking blend of crystal towers, glowing bridges, and cascading waterfalls of liquid light. Ethan could hardly believe his eyes. It was like nothing he had ever seen on Earth or in any images he had studied. The structures shimmered as the sunlight struck them, creating colors that seemed impossible yet real. Kalara led him carefully down the cliffs, her pace steady and confident. Despite the harsh terrain and dangers of the outside world, her city radiated a sense of order, culture, and power. Every structure seemed purposeful, designed to endure centuries, just as her people were determined to endure as a species. Ethan's footsteps echoed on the smooth, crystalline pathways as they entered the city. Alien figures of various sizes and shapes paused to look at them. Some whispered, others simply stared. Ethan felt the weight of their scrutiny. It was clear that outsiders were rare, and that humans even rarer. This way, Kalara said quietly, guiding him toward a massive hall with walls of crystal that glowed faintly. The council awaits us. You must be ready. Ethan swallowed hard. He had expected some kind of trial, But facing a council of an entire alien civilization was more intimidating than any predator or storm he had encountered. Still, he had survived so far, relying on human ingenuity, courage, and trust in Kalara. He could not falter now. The hall was vast, its ceiling stretching high above, reflecting light like a frozen sky. Dozens of alien figures sat in a semicircle, their eyes fixed on Ethan and Kalara. The council was composed of elders and leaders, each radiating authority and intelligence. Their expressions were inscrutable, and their gaze made Ethan feel simultaneously small and observed. Kalara stepped forward, her posture regal. "Council of Thaloria, I bring a human one, who may help ensure the survival of our people. He is chosen not by chance but by reason and strength." One of the elders, a tall figure with luminescent eyes, spoke. "You say this human is worthy our survival, cannot rest on mere choice. Strength, courage, intelligence must be proven." Ethan nodded respectfully. "I understand. I am willing to prove myself in any way I can," the council murmured among themselves. Their voices, though unfamiliar in tone, carried a weight that made Ethan's stomach tighten. Kalara's gaze met his briefly, offering encouragement. "Trust yourself," she said softly. The first trial was a test of intellect and adaptability. The council presented a complex puzzle, a holographic array of symbols and energy flows that simulated the balance of their ecosystem. Ethan studied the array, recognizing patterns similar to genetic sequences he had worked with back on Earth. Carefully, he adjusted the connections, observing the simulated results. Minutes passed. Some of the symbols shifted unexpectedly, creating new challenges, but Ethan stayed calm, applying logic, creativity, and patience. Finally, the simulation stabilized, indicating a successful solution. The council's murmurs shifted to low tones of approval. "You saw with clarity," the elder said. "Few of our kind could manage so quickly. Human mind is remarkable." Ethan exhaled quietly, feeling a mix of relief and pride. Kalara's eyes shone with approval, her faint smile telling him he had done well. Next came a trial of physical and strategic ability. The council guided them to an open arena within the city, where holographic projections created challenging terrain and simulated predators. Ethan and Kalara moved together, navigating obstacles and evading dangers. Ethan quickly realized that Kalara's guidance was crucial. Her knowledge of the terrain and creatures combined with his human adaptability made them an effective team. "Step carefully. The shadows hide dangers," Kalara warned as they moved across a narrow bridge. Ethan followed her instructions, trusting her instincts. When simulated predators lunged, he used quick thinking to redirect them safely, creating safe zones and leading Kalara across. At the end of the trial, the projections dissipated. The council observed silently for a moment before one elder nodded approvingly. "You fight, not for yourself, but with others." Leadership and courage displayed. Ethan realized that this was more than physical strength. The council valued collaboration, problem-solving, and composure under pressure, qualities that humans often took for granted but were essential for survival on Thaloria. Finally, the council presented a trial of trust and ethical judgment. They explained that Kalara's people had made mistakes in the past, choosing mates without careful consideration, which had led to weakness and conflict. Ethan was asked to make a decision in a simulated scenario. Prioritize strength, compassion, or balance between both in ensuring the survival of a population. Ethan thought carefully. He remembered his journey with Kalara, the way she had trusted him, how they had relied on each other, and how the survival of her people depended not only on physical strength, but on adaptability, compassion, and intelligence. "I believe that survival requires balance," he said. "Strength. Yes, but also compassion and intelligence. Without understanding and cooperation, strength alone cannot endure." The council remained silent for several moments. Then the elder who had first spoken stood and nodded. You understand our ways and more. You see beyond the obvious. Trust and wisdom shown." Kalara's hand brushed lightly against his arm in a subtle gesture of approval. Ethan felt a warmth he had not expected, a bond of trust, respect, and understanding forming between them. He realized that their connection was growing beyond necessity. It was becoming genuine. The council spoke again in voices that carried both authority and acknowledgement. Human, you may be the one to help preserve the future. Kalara, your choice is wise. Kalara stepped forward, her eyes bright with emotion. I choose him, not only for survival, but because he is worthy. His courage, his mind, his heart may guide us. Ethan's mind swirled with the enormity of it all. He had come to Theloria as a researcher, curious and cautious. Now he stood as a symbol of hope for an entire species, chosen not by chance but by merit, trust, and shared purpose. Yet even as the council's approval settled over him, Ethan knew that responsibility would not end here. Kalara's people were fragile, her city vulnerable, and her bloodline depended on careful decisions. Their journey together was only beginning. After the council, Kalara guided Ethan to her private quarters, a room carved into the crystal cliffs, glowing softly with bioluminescent light. It was simple yet elegant, a reflection of her people's values. You proved yourself, she said, sitting on a crystal bench. Few outsiders could. You may be the one. Ethan shook his head slightly. I don't know if I deserve this, but I will do everything I can. Kalara studied him, her expression unreadable at first. Then slowly she smiled. Courage comes in many forms. You have shown it not only in trials, but in journey, in choices, and in care. Ethan felt a strange sense of peace. The weight of responsibility remained, but it was tempered by trust and mutual respect. He realized that he had grown in ways he could not have imagined, stronger, wiser, and more connected to a life beyond Earth. As night fell over the city, the crystal towers glowed softly, casting long reflections across the icy cliffs. Ethan and Kalara stood at the edge of the city, looking out at the vast valley below. The world seemed quiet, almost serene, yet the dangers beyond the city walls were still real. You humans are remarkable, Kalara said softly, her gaze fixed on the horizon. You adapt, survive, and endure like few could imagine. Ethan smiled. I think you're remarkable too. You've survived so much, and you're still willing to trust a human like me. Kalara's eyes met his, and for the first time Ethan sensed a deep bond forming, not just of necessity, but of respect and understanding. He realized that this was the beginning of something greater, a partnership that could shape the future of her people and perhaps even his own. The night was long, but Ethan felt awake in a way he had never felt before. He had faced trials, proven his worth, and earned the trust of a civilization far beyond his own. The path ahead would not be easy. There were still challenges, enemies, and uncertainties, but he knew that together, he and Kalara could face them. As he lay down to rest on the crystalline floor, he thought about the journey so far, the ice, the predators, the council, and the bond that had formed between them. He realized that survival was never just about strength. It was about courage, intelligence, and trust. And in Kalara he had found both a guide and a partner. Tomorrow, the next stage of their journey would begin, preparing for the future, ensuring the strength of the next generation, and facing whatever challenges awaited them beyond the city walls. But tonight they had won something far more important: mutual respect, trust, and the first spark of hope for a brighter future. The first rays of Theloria's violet sun lit the crystalline towers of Kalara's city, casting reflections that shimmered like liquid light. Ethan stood at the edge of the main balcony looking out over the sprawling city. The events of the past weeks had changed everything. He had arrived as a scientist, curious and cautious, but now he was part of something far greater, a journey to ensure the survival of a species and to build a bridge between two worlds. Kalara approached quietly, her silver-blue skin glowing softly in the morning light. You have done well, she said. Her voice was calm but carried a sense of pride. Council trusts you. People begin to see hope. Ethan turned to her, smiling. We've done it together. I couldn't have done it without you. Kalara's eyes softened, her gaze lingering on him. Together? Yes, survival is not for one alone, but for those who endure, who trust, who care. Over the following days, Ethan learned more about Kalara's people. The city's laboratories and archives revealed a rich history of wisdom, innovation, and resilience. Yet their survival had been threatened for generations due to genetic weaknesses caused by inbreeding and isolation. Ethan realized that his human perspective, adaptability, problem-solving, and courage was exactly what they needed. Kaylara guided him through the process of preparing for the next generation. They discussed genetic principles, compatibility, and the importance of selecting traits that would strengthen her people while preserving their unique qualities. Ethan approached the task with care and respect, aware that this was far more than a scientific experiment. It was a sacred responsibility. You, humans, are capable of many things, Kaylara said one evening as they reviewed the data together. Not only survival, but understanding, planning, and caring. Ethan nodded. We have our faults, but we've learned that cooperation and knowledge can make a difference. That's what I hope to bring to your people, more than just strength, but balance and wisdom. The council continued to observe, occasionally offering guidance and questions, ensuring that Ethan understood both the responsibility and the cultural significance of his role. Some of Kaylara's people were cautious at first, skeptical of a human's ability to contribute meaningfully. But as Ethan demonstrated patience, compassion, and insight, their mistrust slowly faded. One day, Kaylara brought Ethan to the cliffs overlooking a valley rich with natural resources and life. This is where the first generation will be prepared, she explained. A place where nature and careful guidance can work together. Ethan marveled at the valley. Alien plants glimmered under the sunlight. Small creatures scuttled about and the air was filled with a sense of vitality. It's beautiful, he said. This is the perfect place to begin. Kaylara nodded, a faint smile on her lips. Life must be nurtured, carefully, with knowledge and courage. As the days passed, Ethan and Kaylara worked side by side, combining human and alien knowledge to ensure the health and strength of future generations. They created controlled environments, monitored vital signs, and adjusted environmental factors to maximize adaptability. Every success was celebrated, and every challenge taught them more about each other and the possibilities of collaboration. Ethan noticed subtle changes in Kaylara. She was more relaxed, her trust in him deepened, and there was a quiet joy in her eyes. He realized that they had become not only partners in survival, but companions in purpose. One evening, as the twin moons of Thaloria rose over the cliffs, Kaylara turned to Ethan. You, humans, bring more than strength. You bring hope, courage, and heart. Her violet eyes reflected the moon's glow. I am grateful that you are here. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he had not experienced in a long time. I never imagined I'd be part of something like this, but I'm glad I am. The first hybrid offspring were born under careful observation, healthy and strong, with a unique blend of human and alien traits. The city's people watched with awe and gratitude, recognizing the potential for a renewed future. Ethan and Kaylara celebrated each new life, knowing that each child represented not just survival but hope, unity, and strength. This is only the beginning, Kaylara said softly as they watched the children explore the crystalline garden. Each one carries the promise of tomorrow. You have made a difference beyond measure. Ethan realized that the journey had changed him as much as it had changed Kaylara's people. He had learned the value of trust, compassion, and resilience. He had seen how courage and ingenuity could shape the future, even on a distant alien world. The council gathered once more to witness the results. The elders observed the thriving children and the innovations implemented under Ethan's guidance. Their expressions were solemn but approving. One elder spoke. The human has proven worthy, not only in trials, but in life, guidance, and care. He honors our values and strengthens our future. Kaylara stood beside Ethan, her hand brushing lightly against his arm. You are part of our people now, she said. Together, we endure. Together, we grow. Ethan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had come to Thaloria seeking knowledge and exploration, but he had found something far greater: purpose, partnership, and the ability to make a lasting impact on a world beyond his own. Over the following months, the city flourished. Humans and aliens worked together, exchanging knowledge and ideas. New structures were built with combined technology, blending human innovation with alien design. The community thrived, stronger and more united than ever before. Ethan and Kalara's partnership became a symbol of hope. Where there had been doubt, there was now trust. Where there had been fear, there was now courage. Where there had been uncertainty, there was now a clear vision for the future. One evening, as they walked through the city gardens, Kalara spoke softly. "You have given us more than survival. You have given understanding, courage, and unity." Ethan smiled, taking in the glowing gardens and the laughter of children. "I have learned as much as I have given. Your people, your world. It's incredible. I'm honored to be part of it." Kalara's eyes met his, and for a moment the world felt still. In that quiet, glowing city, they shared a bond that went beyond duty or survival. It was trust, respect, and a deep connection between two species, united by hope and purpose. As the twin moons rose, casting pale light over the city, Ethan and Kalara stood side by side. They watched the children play, the city glow, and the distant mountains shimmer in the twilight. For the first time, Ethan felt that the universe was not just vast and unknown, but full of possibilities. He realized that humanity had a place here, not just as visitors or observers, but as active participants in the survival and growth of life beyond Earth. Their resilience, courage, and adaptability had made a real difference, and the partnership between human and alien had proven that collaboration could shape the future in ways unimaginable. Kalara's voice broke the quiet. "Together, we will endure and grow. The future belongs to those who choose. Courage, trust, and heart." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight and the joy of their journey. Yes, together. And so life on Thaloria entered a new era. Humans and aliens worked side by side, united by mutual respect, understanding, and the shared goal of survival. The first hybrid generation thrived, strong and healthy, a living symbol of what could be achieved when courage, intelligence, and trust overcame fear and isolation. Kalara and Ethan stood at the heart of the city, looking out at the valley and beyond. They knew that challenges would come again, new dangers, new uncertainties, but they also knew that together, they had the strength, courage, and wisdom to face anything. In the frozen, glowing world of Thaloria, humanity had left its mark, and in doing so, Ethan realized that survival was not just about strength, it was about heart, trust, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. As the city's lights glimmered like stars against the night, Ethan and Kalara looked at each other and smiled, knowing that together, they had created a legacy that would endure across generations, a testament to the power of unity, courage, and hope.